Welcome everyone. It is 3 p.m. and it's time for the Server Room Show. This is episode 52. Now we are back in business. There is no rebroadcast of previous episodes, which I forgot to air. I hope you all enjoyed the episode 50, which was a special episode, an interview with Dr. Marshall Kirk McCusick. It was really a lot of joy for me to be able to make it, and finally last Saturday be able to air it for you all. And today we are back to, as I mentioned, business as usual. So let's talk about today about Kodi and the rest. Kodi belongs to the category of these media servers, media centers. The thing is that depends on how vaguely you take this category. You will see that either a lot or a little fits into what is a media server and a media center. By definition, a media server is a device that simply stores and shares media. This definition, however, like I said, is pretty vague and can allow several different devices to be called media servers. It may be a NAS drive, a home theater PC, running perhaps these age-old Windows XP Media Center edition, Mediaportal or My TV, which two of the media servers we will talk about today, or perhaps a commercial web server that hosts media for a large website. In a home setting, a media server acts as an aggregator of information, and those information to be video, audio, photos, it could be even maybe ebooks. These different types of media, whether they originated on DVD, CD, Blu-ray, digital camera, or maybe even in a physical form, are stored on the media server's hard drive most often than not. Access to these is then available from a central location. It may also be used to run special applications that allow the users to access the media from remote location via the internet from outside of the home. It is very typical with those aforementioned NAS devices, which comes pretty well equipped, and the users can easily configure out of the box with the help of kind of like a wizard to make it available outside from their home when they are out and about, and they can connect back to this NAS and access their photos on what photos or other multimedia content with the help of the additional applications for these NAS devices. It's very typical, it's very easy to set up, and both the two big brands, QNAP and Synology, both are helping you to do this with step-by-step wizards or additional applications. It's good if you want to do it and you don't want to suffer setting it up, then perhaps a NAS device could be the best for this scenario. So in the title, Kodi refers to one of the main and most well-known media server or media center solution, definitely one of the most famous and pretty much nearly the oldest, because you will see why in the media server category it's the oldest one. Initially released at 2002 as Xbox Media Player, and from 2003 as Xbox Media Center, and of course today known as Kodi, is one of the best known and used media center solutions on a multi-platform for home theater PC applications. It is highly customizable, which is one of its most important features. You can customize its look via skins and extend its capabilities via plugins way beyond what you might imagine that you could do with Kodi. It can support live TV via TV tuner cards, or to be as an IPTV player. You can do DVR, digital video recording, with it. recording your shows, like those older TiVo set-top boxes. It can have EPG functionality hand in hand with those IPTV player capabilities, so you can see the electronic program guide and to see what's going on the channels, what to watch next. It's pretty much exactly the same like on any other set-top box. It's great with greatly integrated with this IPTV player functionality. And actually, this IPTV player and DPG capability is pretty much the one feature I miss from Kodi's number one rival for myself, the one I use, Plex. That's the feature they don't have. Plex doesn't have it, and I would really love to see them to acquire that feature, Plex. But you probably will see the reason behind that Plex doesn't do it is that it doesn't want to get into certain headaches Kodi is having. In theory, there used to be a way to add plugins to Plex, the number one competitor to Kodi. But cleverly, I think around 2018 and 19, I have it somewhere in the show notes, Plex removed this capability, and you will see that there is a new way to do it now in Plex. I will talk about when we discuss Plex, but it is not the same feeling like with Kodi. It's not like that you feel that it's naturally part of the application or integrated into the core of the application. And personally, I miss that from Plex, and the reason I like Kodi, that if I need that particular feature, it's there, and it's tightly integrated into the core. Kodi can also handle your music library and photo collection, like many other alternatives we will see today, but its real power is not in what the other alternatives also do, but the one they do not, and that is the one single feature which makes Kodi the perfect choice, which cannot be replaced with anything else, only if you depend on this and you need it. I mean, if you are not happy with the rest of the alternatives, the way they are or what they do out of the box. One of the main issue for me with Kodi, that out of the box it's a standalone application and not in a type or a nature of a client server type of architecture. Because, for example, if you look at the alternatives we will see today, like Plex or Embi or Jellyfin, they have in their nature that they have this one main application called the media server, and you interact with appropriate client applications with the server, so you can access it from your mobile or whatnot. And however, with additional work and configuration, it can be done that Kodi's catalog, or you can call it library sharing, to be shared with another Kodi client, kind of like a UPnP server. And the same goes for centralized database for multiple clients. I left a link in a show note about an article from 2015. I hope it's still relevant today. While it can be done, as you see, it's not an out-of-the-box experience like with those other applications. Kodi, in this sense, is still standalone, out of the box, and it's meant to be used on that piece of equipment you install it on. So let's say you put it on your desktop computer and you set it up and everything is working, and yeah, that's the piece of device you're supposed to use with Kodi. If you want to use that already pre-configured Kodi with something else, you see, as I mentioned, you have to go through additional steps of hurdle, while with alternatives like Plex and MB and Jellyfin, you set up the central server and you go along and pick any device you want, being it mobile or a tablet or another laptop, and you can just immediately start enjoying the content on whichever device you pick up, and you don't need to do any additional work apart from installing the compatible client application on that particular device, but nothing of such exists for Kodi, I mean, in a sense of simplicity. However, Kodi's real power is in its add-on and extensible nature through plugins, which is also why it receives a lot of negative press regarding being a safe haven for illegally streamed live TV content like movies or TV shows or pay-per-view sport events, pretty much like Popcorn TV application where you can watch movies and series. The same goes with Kodi, but for the live TV or the live televised content, so to say. So you can use it for to watch IPTV from other countries for free, and it doesn't really sit well with everyone, as you might imagine. Via its third-party add-ons, Kodi can be extended, therefore, with a broad source of content. I just mentioned live sports, live TV channels with the help of IPTV, movies and TV shows in the nature of video on demand through plugins like similar like Popcorn TV, the standalone application. The same content or functionality can be reached with Kodi. But also it's important to mention that also legal content is available for you through the plugins or the likes. I mean Spotify, Tidal, Amazon Prime, Netflix, or I could even say YouTube, or you can listen to podcasts or internet radio. So Kodi is not about and only of illegal content. It's pretty much when we discussed in the episode of GitHub, alternatives to GitHub, it gets down to the individual what you do with a piece of application. I mean, in this sense, you take an application like LibreOffice and you could use it to write a manual how to do some terrible things or how to cause damage to people. Does it make LibreOffice a bad application, and should we get rid of it? No, I mean, it's always lies with the individual. However, it is a laborious job, constantly being on top of which add-on or sources, or as Kodi calls them, repositories, work, and which got defunct for the task over the period of time. It requires an enormous effort of constant reading on websites and forums and articles to see which sources works, which sources doesn't. So it's not a set up once and forget kind of approach. And as always, what works today might not work tomorrow. Some third-party add-ons are not free but paid. These mainly coupled with IPTV subscriptions, which I'm not sure anyone would need with the tons of sources out there for free IPTV and other free add-ons. For example, for Kodi, providing you with most of the time with similar or the same content, or with the majority of the content. I have to say that, as always, IPTV service can stop working from one day to another, and there is not a single thing you can do about it. Therefore, the IPTV services or links I tried personally in the past were from reputable sources and with nearly always on a pay monthly basis. So if the service goes away at any moment, I can just cut my losses, and worst case scenario, if it goes down on 1st of the month and it never comes back, I lost 30 days or 31 days worth of my money. So if you are interested in this. Personally, I saw quite a few and had experience with quite a few, even from AliExpress. You can find reputable buyers, and for a fraction of like 10 euros I could pick up an IPTV package, which I would say works 90% of the time, or 95, let's say. But hey, I paid 10 euros and I didn't pay more, and I think it was for like 6 months, or it was not an amount of money I would be afraid to risk, to be honest. But there are other sources more reputable which cost more, and of course then therefore more reliable. You can see a screenshot of Kodi on my screen. Some say that out of the box it's pretty plain. That's why one of its features is to be able to customize it. And you can see on this second screenshot with the Destiny skin, just one from the many, you can completely transform the look and feel of Kodi. So now we talked about Kodi, let's talk about alternatives to Kodi. What I mean alternatives to Kodi in the server part, the media server part. And Plex, as I mentioned, it's my number one, initially released in 2008, is a client-server media player-based media player system based on the same XBMC source code. The Plex Media Server application can be installed on Windows, macOS, Linux, FreeBSD, also on NVIDIA Shield TV, which is good, and available also on QNAP and Synology NAS as well. I personally run it on a QNAP NAS connected directly to a smart TV via HDMI. The plugin support I mentioned, unfortunately Plex killed it back in 2019. I think it did not want to end up where Kodi is, with this constant negative news around this illegal and pirated content streamed via these third-party plugins, which they would have no control over, just like Kodi. And I think Plex took even the remote possibility out to be turned into something like Kodi. However, knowingly that it would never give it the advantage what Kodi has. So if you wanna go that way, wanna go down that road, so to say, then pretty much Kodi is one of your only choice, and it does perfectly. So even though you have to put effort and everything in it. So Plex removed the plugin support in 2019. They probably don't want to end up where they are. Kodi on their website as of today, it's announcing that Kodi in itself, as I mentioned, it's neither suggesting or aiding of the use of illegal or pirated content. However, they have no control over the third-party plugins or what they do. So they try to make it clear on their website that the application itself, as its core application, Kodi, just like Plex, they have nothing to do with this thing, or not aiding this kind of behavior. Plex went even a step forward, as you see, and completely killed plugin support. The server desktop application organizes video, movies and TV shows, music and photos from your hard drive or network storage folders, and also from online services, podcasts, and also Plex from 2019 started to offer free ad-supported video on demand with TV shows and movies from distributors from Crackle, Warner Bros., MGM, Endemol, Shine Group, Lionsgate, and Legendary, which is great. They also offer live TV channels for free, some of which are quite great, to be honest. It's nothing of the sort of like this mainstream free-to-air channels. They are strange or rare. I've never seen them anywhere else. If you do, or if you did, let me know. But I only saw them in Plex's offer. However, if you upgrade to a Plex Pass for $4.99 a month, you can add a compatible HDTV tuner and access even more live TV in your area, and you can also do the DVR, the digital video recording, to your hard drive, and like that you can get all those free-to-air channels with the help of a TV antenna and an HDTV tuner, and you can watch them with Plex. Plex offers a comprehensive and personalized news experience featuring the most reputable and trustworthy news sources worldwide through Plex News Hub integrated into the Plex dashboard or interface. My only issue with Plex, as I mentioned during when I was talking about Kodi, is the lack of IPTV support built in to the application. And yes, before 2019, when Plex had some kind of a plugin system, it was possible, though I personally never made it to work. I tried, it didn't work, and it was, even that didn't work, was cumbersome to have it to the point where it didn't work. And now there is a latest way to make something work. I didn't try, however, myself, is to install some additional thing on a Docker container to give somehow IPTV functionality. I left a link in the show notes. You can check it out yourself. I honestly think IPTV support in the day and age of today should be part of Plex, and if I ever look for alternatives, that would be pretty much the only reason, because that's pretty much the only feature I miss from all those. You can see a screenshot of my own Plex media server, the dashboard, and yeah, you can see that it also does the music part. So yeah, it's a really nice application, hence it's not having IPTV. Plex Pass is starting from €4.99 a month. You can have a long list of additional perks in Plex. My favorite one is one of their latest, is called Skip Intro in TV series, and it works razor perfect, even when the intro is not in the very beginning of the episode, but maybe 2 minutes down. So the series starts, 2 minutes goes on, and then after 2 minutes they drop in the intro, and it handles it perfectly, hands down, and it's great. It's exactly the same skip intro feature like Netflix has. They have other features as well: Plex DVR, lyrics for songs, mobile sync to be able to download contents for offline view, like movies, TV shows, your own music, photos, parental controls. It has Plex Amp, is a new additional standalone application for most of the platforms, including mobiles and tablets. It's a beautiful Plex music player application. It also builds a radio channel, so to say, from your own collection on your Plex server music collection. It does parametric EQ, it does fades, it does loudness leveling in between songs. It's great. I tried it, and it looks very proper. You can also get discount and Tidal subscription if you are a Plex Pass subscriber. And for me, Plex is the best alternative and the one I use since many years, as opposed to Kodi. I always think about to build a small Plex server with more transcoding power connected directly to my smart TV and indexing the content from the QNAP NAS where my content lives, or just go, for example, the option I just mentioned, the NVIDIA Shield TV box route, and see how that would stand up as a Plex media server. The funny thing is there that how much the NVIDIA Shield TV box costs, around the €200. For pretty much the same amount of money, for like €230, you could pick up a GeForce GTX 960 with 4 gigs of RAM, which has H.265 support, and can do multiple streams even when it need to transcode from, let's say, 4K to 1080p or 720p. So put a computer around it, and you have yourself a Plex server with I think way more power than the NVIDIA Shield TV box can do. I'm not saying that it's not powerful, but if we're talking about the same money, if you have a computer which you were thinking about turning it to a media center or a Plex server, then for an additional price of picking up like an NVIDIA Shield TV box, you can just put a graphics card in, and it has enormous encoding powers. I left a link in the show notes where you can look up certain NVIDIA GPUs and their Plex hardware transcoding performance, which can help you make an educated decision which NVIDIA GPU would be best for you for transcoding duties for a Plex server. Right now, both content and Plex server, in my case, lives on my QNAP NAS, and it connects via the QNAP's HDMI out to the TV, but actually I use it most of the time with my Plex app on the Samsung Smart TV, which goes through the network anyway. So yeah, as you can mount network folders on a Linux server or NVIDIA Shield Pro TV box and make those available for Plex server, you can move your server elsewhere. That's what I wanted to say with that. OSMC, Open Source Media Center, is perhaps another good-looking Kodi alternative that you can find among the score of media centers. It's based upon the same Kodi project, but brings a new and modern user interface that is best suited for TVs and large screens. Similar to Kodi, OSMC is also open source and brings the identical tabbed layout UI. However, the UI elements are quite polished and clean as opposed to Kodi out of the box. And the best part is that you can even use some of the popular Kodi add-ons on OSMC. OSMC offers its own app store where you can discover new add-ons and plugins to get content of your preference. It looks quite nice out of the box, as you see on my screen. OSMC can play almost all the major media formats out there with a powerful built-in transcoder. Apart from online content, you can also use OSMC as your media center, just like Kodi. You can manage your library or movies, TV shows, music, pictures, and more. Best of all, OSMC scraps movie posters and synopses and other relevant information from the web for you. For the media player on OSMC feels much more cohesive and in control than Kodi, which is an added advantage. It can be installed on a variety of devices or purchase their purpose-built box or device for it from their web shop. It can even run on a Raspberry Pi or an Apple TV first generation, which is interesting to know. I will run out of time, I already see that. Mediaportal is another typical media center. The only problem with it that it's unfortunately it's Windows only application. I used it in the past under Windows to handle my then small TV series collection, and to watch them I nearly bought a remote control compatible with it, which was an MCE remote control standard compatible. It was around 25 euros and I never bought it because I could not afford it at the time. It's another sad story from my life. I watched the entire series 6 Feet Under on Mediaportal the first time without the remote, as I just said. It has great interface, mainly based on Kodi, can be themed, or as they call it, skinned, offers live TV and PVR functionality, personal video recording, music, radio, movies and TV shows, and it has this aforementioned integration with remote controls, which I nearly bought one, if you remember. It can look pleasant. I wish it was not Windows only, and I ran out of time, which left me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the controls and the other things. So right now I don't know what's left of this episode. Should I do a part 2, or you guys gonna be nice enough to read it yourself, because I had another 5 things going on, plus talking about the remote, plus talking about HDTV Tuners. So yeah, let's make that decision together by next week, and I will let you know all. Have a nice afternoon.